All right, new day and another laptop that needs to be saved, and this time we have a Dell XPS 9300. This is one of Dell's 13-inch laptops. This one was sent in because it doesn't power on. So when you plug in the charger, it doesn't power on the laptop, it doesn't charge the battery, they don't get a screen. So I haven't taken a look at this yet. Let's take a look together and see if we can get this figured out. All right, the first thing we'll do is see if it just turns on. Hit the power button. I'm not seeing any power lights or anything like that. Let's plug in our power meter. Keep an eye on the power meter right here. I want to see how much current it's pulling. All right, so I just plugged in the USB-C on this side. We're not getting 20 volts. It should actually go up to 20 volts and then start pulling some current to turn it on. I'm going to flip over the port and see if it works in a different direction. All right, that's not doing anything either. If we do look here at the bottom, it's our CC1 line. That's at 3.1, and whenever I plug it in, it should go down to 1.6 volts, and it's going to 0. So looks like there's some sort of dead short on that side. Maybe the port itself, it could be the PD controller. We're going to plug in the charger on the other side now. So this one actually negotiated 20 volts, and we're pulling 0.6 amps. Let's see if the laptop's coming on. I actually see the keyboard backlight on, but that's all I'm seeing. I'm not seeing anything more. Let's give it a second and see if we actually get a screen. What we want to see is this current going up and down. It's just sitting at 0.72. It should actually be moving around if it's going through a boot phase. But since it's just sitting there, we're going to assume that it's not working properly. I'm going to open the bottom up. Let's do a CMOS reset where we actually unplug all the power from the board. Hold down the power button, discharge all the capacitors. We'll plug in the charger again and see if it will come on. But the fact that we do have a short on this side will probably prevent this thing from coming on anyway. So we'll need to open up the bottom and take a look inside. All right, and the bottom is off. Let's take a quick look around. We have the main battery here. This is going to be a aftermarket battery, it looks like. We have some sort of Chinese sticker here. It should have a serial number on here, but I don't see that. There's a sticker over where it should say Dell right here. And does it say Dell under here? It does. But this is an aftermarket knockoff battery, so they put a sticker over it. That's kind of interesting. So we have an aftermarket battery. Here's the main NVMe. Yeah, it's installed, the SSD, pair of fans, and the Wi-Fi cards built on there. So what I want to do is unplug the main battery. We're going to try to discharge all the current out of here. We'll see if we can reset the BIOS. It may just be a BIOS reset issue, but I mean, we're having a short on that side, so I doubt it is, but we always need to try this first. Hold down the power button. That will discharge all the capacitors on the board, get it down to 0. I'm going to use this port since this is the one that's working, and let's plug in the charger again. And we did see the keyboard backlight come on again, and I just want to sit here for a little bit and see if it does. Unplug this. Ouch. Okay, so this is kind of funny. So I had my hand, I was just kind of holding it right here like this, and my finger started burning, and it was sitting on this chip right here. So this chip is actually the PD controller chip, I believe. Let's take a look under the microscope. Yeah, so this is the chip that my finger was sitting on, and it started burning it. So it makes sense because a PD controller chip, PD stands for power delivery, so that's the communication chip that the USB-C port's going to be speaking with the charger and negotiate that 5 volts up to 20 volts and then supply the current to the board. If we're plugging our USB on this side and we're getting a shorted or 0 volts, then we know there's an issue on this side. And then if we plug in on the other side and we're getting that constant current's probably going over here and shorting this out. So let's take a look under the thermal camera because I want to see what characteristic we're getting whenever we plug in the charger. So I'm about to plug in the charger, 3, 2, 1, and look at that. Oh man, it's on fire. Look how hot it is. So that chip is definitely shorted out internally, and we will need to replace that. I think I have some of those, I hope. If not, then I will have to pull it off a donor board, but these do go out. So it's a TPS 65987DDJ. So let me take a look and see if I have some of those. All right, I'm just kind of looking through all the PD controller chips I have. Here we go, TPS 65987DDJ. Got it. Yes, so I have some. That makes it a lot easier, so we'll be able to just remove that chip, put a new one on. These, in general, don't need to be programmed because the board's going to program them themselves, so I'm not worried about that. And hopefully this will resolve the issue. I have seen, though, in the past that whenever we have a shorted PD controller chip like this, it has a tendency of damaging more on the board, i.e. the CPU, sending voltage where it's not supposed to go. So this is a 50-50 chance that this will actually fix the board. This will resolve the short, but whether the board will post after that, I don't know. So we will have to see. So here's our new chip. So let's get this one removed. Now to do this, we have our CPU fan. I don't want to melt it. We also have this connector here. I don't want to melt it. So I'm going to remove the motherboard, and that way we're protecting everything around it because I don't want any stray heat damaging anything. Plus these boards are really, really thin, And so we can end up messing up stuff underneath. So the responsible thing to do would be to remove the board. So let's go ahead and get the motherboard taken out. Now I'm sure people are gonna ask why the PD controller chip would have went out or the USB-C port would have went out. Well, guess what? It's probably because of this. So they have an aftermarket battery, but they also have an aftermarket USB-C charger. You see this charger right here? If you held this in your hand, it doesn't weigh anything because it's basically empty. What they're trying to do is they're trying to emulate the same shape and look of a Dell charger, but it has inferior technology in here. These are what end up blowing up these motherboards. So if you have a laptop, make sure to buy an OEM charger, not these cheap knockoff Amazon chargers. So I'm gonna recommend that they replace this after we fix this board. All right, and the motherboard is out. And sure, it has a lot of screws to get this thing out, but I think this was the right thing to do because I'd rather not take the easy way just because sure, I could have replaced it with it in there, but I just don't think that's the safest thing to do. So what I want to do is I want to protect this connector that's right here, the speaker connector, and then we're also just going to kind of blow away from it. So if we turn the board around this way, then we're going to blow the air this direction. We don't want to get it on the battery connector, so let's rotate it a little bit more. And so I think that's going to be the direction we're going to be blowing, is straight across this area right here. We're going to put some high temperature Kapton tape on here to protect all these components around here. So now that we have that all protected, and we're just going to blow the air this direction, right across here. Let's go ahead and preheat the board. This board is really thin, and so it doesn't take much to heat it up, but we still want to get in there and get out of there as fast as possible. So I'm using 450 degrees C with 60% air. I'm going to try to heat over here more, and then we'll come in closer to the chip. But first I'm going to heat the chip up, or heat the board up, and then we'll add some flux, and that will help the solder flow. So now we can add a little bit of flux. And there we go. So we got the chip off. We can check to see if the short is now resolved. The general best practice is you don't want to start plugging in chargers without this on here. So I'm going to put the new one on first. We didn't actually identify where the short was on here, but if we wanted to measure with some probes, we can. I should have actually checked where we were detecting a short so we know it's gone, but I'm guessing that we would probably have a short across here or a short across here. Let's see. Here. Yeah, so we don't have a short in this area at all anymore. I'm not detecting anything shorted, so that's perfect. So our new chips here, this is brand new. So what we need to do is we need to pre-tin all of these pins here because we need to put some solder on here. If we just try to put this chip straight back onto this solder, there's not going to be enough. Even if I added more solder on here, you actually cannot get enough solder on the board. So you actually have to have it on both sides, have them match up, and then that will be enough. In general, what I'll do is I'll just put some flux on here, and then I'll put some solder on the tip of my soldering iron. Let me turn my air back on. So I'm just going to put a little solder on the tip here, like that, and we'll hold it in place, and then I'm just going to touch the edge, and it will suck onto all those pins. See, we just rub it on there, and with that flux, it will just flow right onto the pins where we need them. And then we just need a little bit in the middle, not much. Just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so that chip is ready to go. Now I wasn't heating it too long either. I didn't want to actually damage the chip from overheating it. So now we need to figure out orientation. That's not too hard to do because Dell is nice. So here's pin 1. So we just need to find pin 1 on here. And let's see. There's the dot right there. It's hard to see. Here, I can heat it up and show you. And you can actually look at the bottom too. You see how the pads are set up here? So we have this big area and then these 2 areas, so big area and 2 areas. So we flip that over and we'll just match it up. But pin 1's actually marked right there. Okay, so now we have it in the right orientation. I'm just gonna hold the chip out of the way. I'm gonna preheat the board. I'm gonna wait for the solder to get a little bit shiny and then we'll set this back down. All right, solder got shiny. We'll set this on here. We'll try to get it close, but we don't need it perfect. And then once we have it set on there like that, we can add more flux, and then the chip will actually solder itself where it needs to go on its own. And now we should be able to tap it So you just tap it and then it goes right back where it needs to go. All right, now while it's a little bit warm, I want to use my toothbrush and we can clean this up. Just want to get all this flux off of here like nothing happened. Everything's still a little bit hot. I'm going to try to cool it off a little bit. All right, now that I have the motherboard cooled off, so we're going to plug it into the port that was working. I just want to see what current draw we're getting. So now we are getting 0.4, and we want to see if it goes down and back up. It's just sitting there again. Let's go back and let's try the port we just fixed. Okay, it's working that direction and 0.4, but if we do this direction, it's not working. And if you see the CC line right here, you see that's at 0? That would actually should stay high if we had a normal communication. The CC line is a communication line, and so it can tell which way the plug is actually plugged into the port. And so if we do it upside down, the CC line goes to 1.6 and it negotiates to 20 volts. We flip it back over, the CC line goes down to 0 and the thing stays off. So what does that mean? It means that there is most likely a short on the CC line. Now the CC line goes to a couple different spots. Let's take a look, I'll show you around. So I don't know exactly where the CC line is connected on this chip here, but we can see if there's a short on here, but most of the time it's actually shorted on a diode back here. So we have diodes across, yeah, there we go. So I'm assuming that one of these diodes here, what about this one? That's completely burned and fallen off the board, is shorted. So I bet that's the bad one. So now, I bet if we plug it in, it should work. I'm gonna plug it in again, because it just fell off. So we got 0.4 that way. Now I'm gonna flip it over. And we got 0.4 that way. So now it's working in both directions. So all we need to do is we need to replace this. The diode isn't required in order to make this work. That's why it did work, but it's always good to have it in there. It's more as a protection. So let me go ahead and get this one replaced, and I'll have to grab this off of the donor board. First, I want to prep the pads. So let me put some fresh flux there. We'll just add some fresh solder to it. That way it will actually flow a lot easier. It was a little cauterized because it was burnt. So let me grab a donor board. All right, here's a donor board. Let's see, is it the same setup? I know I have a lot of pieces taken off this board already, but I still have that diode there. So let's go ahead and grab that off of there and we'll move it over. We have to be very careful because it is very tiny, just to show you how big my finger is compared to it. So let me get in position. I'm gonna do it in this direction. That way I can grab onto it easier. Heat up the board. Got it. So I'm going to hold it. I don't want it to fly away to the 9th dimension. Okay. Finally got that installed. Okay, let me clean it off. Got to make sure we always clean up after ourselves. Okay, now that we have both ports working, I guess we can plug it in and test again. Plug it in that direction. Plug it in this direction. Did we pull a bad one off the donor board? I think we did. Look at this. It's doing it all over again. Back to the drawing board. Give me a second. These are notorious for going out because they act as protection. So we'll have to grab another one off of here. Let me get this one taken off. And so I need to remember that the dot is on this way, so I need to flip it around when we get it installed over there. So I need to flip this around. All right, that looks perfect. All right, round 2, let's try it again. Plug in the power. All right, 0.2. 20 volts. Okay, plug in the power, 20 volts. Now we're gonna flip it over. And we got our 20 volts. So now we have it both ways on that side. Let's try this side. All right, we got it both ways on this side too. All right, so we have all 4 directions working. Now the question is this laptop gonna post? Let's put it back together and test. All right, I got the motherboard installed. Moment of truth. Let's plug in the power. This is the side that didn't work. All right, plugged in. We got 0.28 amps and we got 20 volts. Let me see if I can get the lid opened up. Press the power button and we got the Dell screen. So there you go. We were able to resolve the issue on this machine. It ended up being a couple different things, right? So we had the PD controller on this side was completely shorted out, causing the board to not be able to negotiate the 20 volts, but we also had a damaged diode on that same side. So we were able to replace both of those components. Now the machine is turning on and booting up. I'd love to know your thoughts on this one, and thanks for watching.
I saved another laptop!